Ladies and people who deserve things, and here day 179 of the Inner Winner Show. I just launched my Facebook group, the private Facebook group, VIP access Facebook group called the Winners Club. And that's going absolutely awesome so far. I just released it a couple of days ago. Super exclusive group for those who want accountability, want access to me to ask me questions throughout the week, get motivation, get feedback, get some cheerleading in there as well, all that sort of stuff. And I also have a live stream Q&A that I do every week as part of that group. I'll do my first one of that next week, and I'm super looking forward to it. So if you want access to that group, access to me to ask me questions and have me be your personal cheerleader, send me an email or go to killyourinnerloser.com/contact and I'll sign you up. So here's an exercise that I want you guys to do right now. Ask yourself this question: what do I want? I want you to come up with all the goals that you want to work on, all the things you want to achieve, the person you want to become. I want you to tell me the things that you'd give absolutely anything to have, even if you think they're years away, or maybe you think they're altogether impossible. Then I want you to ask yourself a second question. What do I think I deserve? Often you will find there's a huge discrepancy between what you want versus what you think you actually deserve. Sometimes there's a big disconnect. Maybe you feel like the things that you want are way too far off, like you're at the bottom of the mountain and you're unsure how the hell you'll ever climb to the top of that mountain. Well, the answer to that is super simple. One step at a time, just as I wrote in my Slight Edge article. I'll leave a link in the show notes below to that article. The old cliche holds true that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Stop looking so far ahead, stop obsessing about how far you still have to go, and just do what's right in front of you. Take it one single day at a time. Other times, you're going to feel like you simply aren't good enough to have the things that you want. Like your goals are things that only cool people get to have, or guys who are good enough, or guys who are worthy. I've covered that in another article I wrote called You Deserve to Be Here. I'll leave a link in the show notes to that. Sometimes you might even feel completely hopeless, convinced that there's no goddamn way that you will ever make it. If so, read another article I wrote called What to Do When You Feel Hopeless and Helpless. I'll leave a link in the show notes below to that one. It doesn't really matter, though, why there's a disconnect between what you want versus what you think you deserve. All that matters is that you recognize that disconnect and be aware of the fact that you feel like you don't deserve your goals. Because otherwise you will likely end up self-sabotaging, not going all in, being too afraid of failure, and not doing whatever the hell it takes to win. And trust me, I've been there myself. I spent the longest time self-sabotaging, not doing whatever it took to succeed because I was convinced that I didn't really deserve to get laid. I ended up taking about 5 months off from my self-improvement and getting laid, and I just sat around depressed, miserable, making the excuse of, I have to fix this health issue that I have, or I have to gain some more muscle in the gym. And that really wasn't the reason. The reason that I kept away from talking to girls for 5 months was because I was fucking scared. I was terrified that I didn't really deserve to reach my goals, and that if I gave it everything I had, I would fail, and then that would be even worse than if I just didn't try at all. I did the same thing, this self-sabotaging, with this website, with this podcast, with my coaching, spending the first 2 years making basically no money and having to work a full-time job at the exact same time, which, trust me, was absolutely just mind-boggling amounts of stress because I had to commute about an hour and a half to work and then an hour and a half back, working a full-time job while trying to manage coaching clients while not charging them any money because I was convinced that I didn't ever deserve to be a full-time coach. So I wasn't all in. I wasn't doing what it took to make money. I wasn't doing what it took to make this a full-time gig. And so that disconnect between what I want and what I deserve, it isn't something that you need to beat yourself up. Often the cure is to just be aware that there's a disconnect. Do everything that you can to make sure you don't self-sabotage, and then push forward towards your goals in spite of that disconnect, in spite of feeling like you don't really deserve your goals. Almost everything I ever achieved, we can just say everything I ever achieved, was in spite of the fact that I really didn't think I deserved it. In fact, I'm pretty much always full of doubt. I will leave a link in the show notes below to an article I wrote with that exact title. I am always full of doubt, but I still managed to achieve my goals. Just because you don't believe you deserve your goals doesn't mean you're correct. So sit back, go back, ask yourself those two questions. What do I want? Followed by, what do I think I deserve? If there is a disconnect between those two questions, admit it and start being aware of it. Beat it by going on my forums and sharing this disconnect, saying, here's my goals, but I don't think that I actually deserve them. ask for help overcoming that. Hit me up for coaching if you want, killyourinnerloser.com/coaching, and I will help you. We will tackle it together. Often just the fact that you're aware of that disconnect, that you're aware that you don't think you deserve your goals, is enough to stop you from self-sabotaging. If you can be aware of it, and ask yourself in those moments when you're tempted to self-sabotage or be lazy or procrastinate or sit around and say, what's the point in trying? I'm not going to make it. Just being aware of that disconnect is enough a lot of times to make you go, no, fuck this. I'm going to go out and do it anyway. I'm going to go and give it the old college try. So I will leave you with something tangentially related that I wrote to a guy in my forums. I really liked this quote because it was in relation to him taking a really long time to finish the Approach Anxiety program, which is a program to teach you, how to talk to girls, how to be able to hit on girls during the daytime. So I said to him, he was worried that he was taking too long. And I said, when you get to the finish line, you won't give a shit how long it took you. You'll just be happy to be there. And when you guys reach your goals, you won't care whether you thought you deserved them or not. You'll just be happy that you fucking made it. Fucking